Your relationship with yourself affects all the other relationships in your life. Sometimes the negative self-talk is so real. Sometimes I just have so many thoughts going on in my head to where I'm just like, this is not normal. How are you always looking on the bright side of things when bad things are going on? Any tips you have for when you're feeling anxious or not doing good mentally? How do I know if I should go to therapy? Do you ever feel so anxious that it feels like you're going crazy? You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are doing the best you can.
Fuck. Down, yeah. I've been feeling so down, yeah. Can you tell me why? I'm down?
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Hannah Draw. If you're new here, I'm so happy you're here. Welcome. It's so nice to meet you. Hello. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than my usual ones because I have been not doing well mentally, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. So I hope that this video makes you realize that the people that you follow on the internet are all going through their own struggles, and that's not to call anybody out, it's just facts. We are all going through our own internal struggles, and some people don't choose to show that, but I think it's really important to show that, because when you follow people and you're going through all these struggles and you're thinking that like other people are not, it's kind of damaging. I posted on Instagram this morning and I said what I usually do, which is like something along the lines of it's a good day to have a good day, or I said like what a good day to have a good day, right? And then I totally checked myself and I was like, bitch, what the fuck are you doing saying it's a good day? Like, you've been doing horrible mentally. Like, and that is not even me being dramatic. I am really struggling right now. And like 2 days ago, I literally came to the beach. I just sat on a ledge and just bawled my eyes out. And we'll get into the reasons that I am struggling. So my goal with telling you all this stuff is that I leave this video feeling a little bit lighter, and you also leave this video feeling a little bit lighter, maybe a little bit more seen and heard and recognized. And I hope you know that you're not the only one struggling, and we might be going through different things, but we're still struggling and we're here together and we're gonna get through it. I actually cannot read any of the DMs you guys sent on Instagram. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but my eyes are already watering. I'm so thankful for all of you guys. But, oh no, I'm definitely gonna cry in this video. I'm telling you guys, my emotions have been all over the place. We need to wait. We haven't gotten into anything. I just ordered breakfast from a health market by my house. Health market. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do to shake the nerves away, to get this video going, is we're gonna have this pineapple ginger shot. Cheers to being vulnerable, cheers to allowing ourselves to feel the emotions, and cheers to recognizing that we are exactly where we need to be and we don't need to be putting as much pressure on ourselves as we are. Oh! The golden elixir. Fuck, they really filled this thing. Oh, fuck. We got a tofu scramble. The way I'm gonna set up this video is I'm gonna start by talking about the things that I'm struggling with, and then later I'm gonna answer some of the things that you guys said to me on Instagram, okay? So to kind of give you a glimpse into what I've been feeling, I'm just gonna read what I put on my Instagram story this morning. So I put, I don't even know how to explain the way I've been feeling. The best way I could describe it is growing pains. It's weird being in my hometown right now. Everywhere I drive reminds me of old memories and my friend who passed away. I'm also outgrowing a lot of people and it feels weird. I'm living with my family right now, which has been great, but I also really do value alone time and a space of my own. Plus, managing school, social media, brand deals, and just life in general is really hard to balance right now. So let's dissect that really quick. Let's start with the environment that I am in. I need to take this jacket off. I'm sweating my ass off. I really feel like the environment I'm in is really hindering my growth as a person right now. Even right now, as I'm filming this video, I'm literally overthinking everything I'm saying. So from this point, I'm just gonna speak from the heart and just get out what's on my chest, because I literally feel myself filtering myself right now for you guys, and it's pissing me off. So firstly, the environment that I'm in is really hindering my growth as a person, and I feel like I shouldn't put the blame on my environment, but like, it's so hard for me to be in this city right now, guys, and like, I'm sorry to get emotional, but I've just been trying to manage my own feelings. You guys know that I recently lost a friend of mine, and that's been really hard to process because I haven't ever like dealt with a death in my life, especially someone who's 21 years old and someone who I used to know. So that's just been really hard to process, and like, even though I do sorry even though I do feel like I've come to terms with that and I've accepted what I can't change, it still is like lingering in the back of my head a lot. I just think being here doesn't help at all, because like right now, for example, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the waves, and that doesn't even calm me, because like, this is a place my friend used to surf at, and it's just like shitty to even look at. And then like, aside from that, even I'm outgrowing a lot of people in my life, and it's kind of hard to swallow, because like, these are friends that you're thinking are gonna be in your wedding and be with you through all these phases in your life, and then you kind of start to realize that like, maybe they don't think of you the same way that you think of them. Like, maybe they don't value you as much as you valued those friendships, and that's also like super hard for me to process. Like, for example, when I hang out with my friends right now, I feel like I'm kind of pressured to be a version of myself that doesn't exist anymore. And that's been hard, because like, all I want to talk about is what I'm doing right now with social media. It's hard to accept that people actually don't give a shit about your life, and like, my friends don't even ask me what's going on with this stuff, which is fine, but I sort of just like realized like they actually just don't care, and it's fine. Like, I will find people who are supporting me and rooting for me as I'm doing the same for them, but it's just not something I have access to right now at this point in my life, and that's also super hard to process. Additionally, I'm in a relationship, and it can be hard to like prioritize your own mental health while being in a relationship, and then I'm also living with my family right now, so they're always around, like constantly. So I'm trying my best to film content and put on a happy face, but when my mom and brother start arguing, and then I'm supposed to just put on a video and film a brand deal like I'm perfectly fine, it can be like super overwhelming. My family's very vocal when something goes wrong or something's upsetting them. Like, instead of just like taking a second to like process how you're feeling, they kind of just let it out. So like, say something happens with my mom, like, instead of her like calmly approaching my brother and I, she'll kind of just like boom, like, boom, I'm here, boom, I'm pissed, which is fine. Like, her building awareness towards it is the first step, and that's what we're working towards right now, because I am guilty of it too. I'm totally reactive, and like, whatever emotion I'm feeling is the person that you're gonna get, and I'm trying to take a step back and like manage my emotions better. But that's how my family is, okay? So it is very weird, like, being in an environment where like one moment you can be stable and the next it can be unstable just because of someone else's emotions, if that makes sense. And yeah, just the pandemic in general, like, when I talked about this on, damn, it's hot as fuck in my car. Just the pandemic in general, like, when I talked about this on my Instagram, a bunch of people were like, yeah, like, I think a lot of it is just coming from the same thing every single day. And that's not to say every day is exactly the same, but like, it is pretty similar. Like, we're not having things like birthday parties and barbecues and like celebrating big holidays to like break up the year. It's literally been month after month of the same shit. And I don't know if you need to hear this, but I definitely need to hear this right now. Go easy on yourself. Like, you're literally doing school through a screen. We've been in a pandemic for over a year. Nobody could have prepared for this. You are doing the best you can. And I'm telling this to you, but I'm telling this to me right now because it's something I need to hear, because I am doing the best I can. But then I'm like, am I doing the best I can? Because I'm not meditating, because I'm not journaling, I'm not working out, I'm not fucking getting my... I thought there was a cop behind me. What is my paranoid ass? I'm not getting myself outside. I'm just sitting in my house and feeling sorry for myself. And sometimes it's just so crippling, and that's all you want to do. Like, you don't want to leave your bed, and that's okay too. It is better to do those things, but sometimes it really is just so hard to do those things. So it's okay if you're like struggling to do those things. Growing up is just really weird, guys, and I don't know. I feel like my emotions are also so high because in a way these next couple months are the end of my childhood, like, kind of, and that's kind of hard to cope with. Like, whoa, I'm 20 years old and I'm just gonna leave my mom's house eventually and never live there again, ever. Because I have lived on my own. I moved out on my own this last year, but I am back in my mom's house. But I know that this next time when I do move out, it's gonna be like out. So it is like very weird to like look at my family and be like, we're all under the same roof right now and we're not gonna all be under the same roof. I just feel like even if I'm fully happy, like, I always have these set 3 or 4 things that are in the back of my head. I'm just gonna read some of your guys' Instagram DMs right now because I feel like I got everything off my chest, but maybe reading these will resurface some other things that I need to talk about. And I'm gonna do this while I eat because I can't really talk and eat. This girl said, I've been feeling exactly the same. I could go from vibing and dancing to music to the next second feeling so unmotivated and on the verge of tears. That's exactly what it is. And you know why? It's because we are internalizing all this stuff and we're not actually letting it out. And I was listening to this podcast about how when you actually cry, like when you physically break down and cry, you're releasing stuff from your body because your body holds on to that trauma and those bad negative emotions. So cry. I encourage you to cry. Crying is so important. Just like have those places that you go to in nature where you feel safe and protected and just cry your eyes out and know that while you're crying, you're making space for better emotions and better feelings to come into your body. When we just hold on to it, we get so tense and it will come out at certain moments. And that is not okay, especially if you're someone like me who's in a relationship or like living with other people, because it is not just your own emotions that you need to think of. You should also be thinking about how the way you're feeling is affecting the people around you. Obviously, don't let it get to a point where like you're putting other people's needs before your own, but just check in with yourself. Like, sometimes we are the damaging one. Okay, going back to me, because I was like teaching you a lesson, now we're going back to my internal struggles. But Nathan, my boyfriend, I think you've seen him. We have a Q&A if you guys want to check that out. I post about him on Instagram and TikTok all the time, but he's a very strong communicator, and whatever he is feeling, he's able to communicate it in a matter of minutes. Like, perfectly said how he's feeling, and I kind of need a couple seconds. I need a lot of seconds to process the way I'm feeling and like even put into words the way I'm feeling. And I do project a lot, and it's important to recognize like your own patterns and stuff, because how else are you gonna grow if you're not aware of your own patterns as a person? So I can tie back my projecting to my family because, like I said, like whenever anything goes wrong, we're the first to say it. Like, we're not gonna really filter ourselves. But I think that's so toxic, because like, why, just because you're upset, do you need to ruin someone else's emotional state? So what Nathan and I are working on together is like, when I do start to get upset, we'll kind of both like go our separate ways, and I'll kind of just collect my thoughts, and then we'll come back and have a plan. I just feel like I'm fucking crazy sometimes because I'm the only one in the relationship that is experiencing these intense emotions. And I don't know, the way he handles everything is so admirable, but in a way I'm just like, oh, why don't I handle it that way? And I'll find myself comparing myself to him, and like, why do I do that? I can't compare my growth to his because I do have strong suits in some areas where he doesn't, and it's like vice versa. So like, just recognizing that everybody's on their own path, everybody processes things differently, and each person is just a collection of experiences from their childhood. I really do encourage you guys to do the internal work and look back on experiences that you've had growing up that might have been not so good, and some of them might have been good, but like, look at them all from an unbiased standpoint and know that these experiences are what made you the person that you are. I hope that made you feel less alone. I hope you can relate to some of this, or I don't hope you can relate because that means you're struggling too, but like, I hope you see that we are all trying our best and that it is okay to feel not like yourself sometimes. I also want to recognize before I get into the Instagram questions that when it comes to mental health, you are the one that's completely responsible for your own mental health. It can be so easy to be like, well, I'm this way because of my mom. There's so many things you could be shifting the blame onto, but it's so freeing to just recognize that you are 100% responsible for yourself. You are not a product of your environment. You are not a product of shitty people in your life. You're a product of the effort that you've put into yourself. And that's what I'm kind of realizing is like, internal work is really something that you have to keep maintaining. It is something that you're gonna have to keep working towards because your relationship with yourself affects all the other relationships in your life. And if you're not taking the time to like ask yourself what's wrong and be patient with yourself and not judge yourself when you do things and slip up, like, how do you expect someone else to do it? So something I'm trying to do is just have intentional alone time with myself, and like, I haven't really been succeeding in that. Like I said, when I get upset mentally, sorry, this bird like just flew right next to me and it's crazy looking. I'm kind of guilty of that. Like, what the fuck was I saying? Guys, my attention span, I don't know if I have ADHD. I don't know if I need to get diagnosed from a doctor because I really do think I have something, but I see this bird, completely lost my whole train of thought, which is fine. But I also want to talk about negative self-talk, and I preach so much about affirming yourself in the mirror and reminding yourself who the fuck you are, chin up because you a bad bitch, like, because you are, and you should be doing those things, but it's so much easier said than done. And I don't religiously say my affirmations in the mirror every single morning. I should. I do see myself doing that in the future, but like, I'm not doing it right now, and it's okay. But I just like, sometimes the negative self-talk is so real, and like, sometimes I just have so many thoughts going on in my head to where I'm just like, this is not normal. I should not be bombarded with all of these intrusive thoughts. Why am I speaking poorly about myself? Why am I feeling this way? And so on and so forth. And something I've been struggling with, which is kind of ironic because like, I overshare so much on the internet, and I also just like talk your guys' ear off all the time. I'm really struggling with communicating, and I'm also really struggling with being not guarded and telling people like honestly how I feel. I've been kind of avoiding like setting boundaries in friendships or like having tough conversations that I need to have, just because I feel like I can never find the right words to say, and especially if you add like the emotions of stress or anxiety on top of that, it is really, really hard, because then I'm even more likely to fumble over my words and like mess up and not say the things that I really know I need to say. And then that just goes back to like negative self-talk, where I'll just have these thoughts like, you're so stupid, like, why the fuck do people follow you when you don't even know how to say a sentence without saying so or like or whatever? And it's like, I don't know why I have these thoughts. It's really fucked up, actually. I acknowledge that I'm extremely privileged because of the work that I'm doing through social media. Like, I actually get access to a lot of things that I know most people don't have access to. Like, for example, I'm doing therapy right now because I did a brand deal with a therapy site, and they gave me therapy for a couple months. Like, I do not come from a family of money. I would not have access to that if it wasn't for social media and stuff. So it is weird because it's like providing all these opportunities, but then I'm just like, like, It's like all these people like really look up to me, and I'm just not a perfect person, and I have so much work that I need to do, and I don't know why I'm looking everywhere around, because I'm like overwhelmed that there's a bunch of people walking by, but no one's looking at me. I need to practice what I preach and remember that nobody is even judging you as hard as you are judging yourself. But let's look at what you guys said on Instagram. So I said, ask me any and all things mental health related. Someone said, any tips you have for when you're feeling anxious or not doing good mentally. It's easy for me to give tips, but actually following through with the tips I'm about to give is the hard part. So if I give you these tips and you don't follow them word for word, it is 100% okay, because I don't even follow them sometimes. But what always makes me feel better is getting outside, like even sitting in my car somewhere and just like looking at these waves is very calming to me. I also really like to play high vibrational music, so whatever that means to you, music that sets your soul on fire. Sometimes that's like a 2013 Lorde album, sometimes that's reggae music, sometimes it's Lumineers. It's really all over the place, whatever I'm feeling, but like dance parties and just moving your body is so important. Also, something I always do when I'm feeling really stressed or overwhelmed is I take 4 deep breaths, and I'll just kind of sit my body so it's upright. I'll put my hands on my thighs, and I'll just go, hold it till you literally can't breathe, and then let it out as if you were doing yoga and going like almost growl it out, okay? And it's weird, but it really does release a lot. And also, like, we forget that our body is able to cure our mind to an extent. If we're shaking our body and moving it around a ton, your mind does stop for a second. So like if you are feeling overwhelmed, maybe put on some what the fuck are these things? Put on some earbuds, go for a walk, and let the wind hit you and remind you that you're not alone in the world, and that there's a million other people probably going through the same thing that you're going through. We go through this main character syndrome where we think that the whole entire world revolves around us, when that is not the case. There are so many people in the world. The odds of you being the only person going through what you were going through in this moment is unheard of. Like there's absolutely no way, you know what I mean? So just reminding yourself that like you are more than the feelings you're feeling right now. You are not alone in your struggles, and even though it does feel like you are alone, just like remembering that and finding peace in other places, like nature, like I said, very important. I also recommend making your room environment a really safe space. So like if you're someone like me who lives with your parents or your parent, and your home can be like a little chaotic at times, like having some things in your room that bring you peace and make you feel safe is so important. I always have incense burning if I'm super stressed. I have my crystals out. I have my Himalayan salt lamp. I have a yoga mat right by my bed in case I just want to like lay out, I don't know. So stuff like that. I hope that helps. Those are like the best tips I can give, because like that's what I do in this moment, but I can't wait to keep learning and growing with you guys, because I know I'm gonna come out on the other side with this, and I know I'm gonna be able to understand myself a lot better, and I know that will help you guys understand yourselves more when I do the internal work. It just comes down to me actually doing it, and I think I'll do a lot of it once I move out. But yeah, like I said, right now I'm feeling really stuck. Do you ever feel so anxious that it feels like you're going crazy? Yes, just about every single day, actually. Like, I'm actually not even kidding. I'm happy that people feel the same way. I'm like, is something actually mentally wrong with me? There's no reason I need to be overthinking everything and feeling so crippled and weighed down by my emotions to where I can't do anything else. I think that's normal, and I think that just means you are carrying a lot right now and you have a lot on your plate. But yeah, I definitely do feel that way sometimes. How do I know if I should go to therapy? Well, I think that if you are even asking that question, should I go to therapy, you should be going to therapy. If it's something that's even like entertaining your thoughts, maybe something inside you is like pulling you to that experience. Also, on this note of therapy, it's really important to not get discouraged when you're first starting out, because when I first started going to therapy, I really didn't vibe with like my first 2 therapists, and I was like, God, like something's wrong with me. These people are just making me feel so uncomfortable, and I'm not like telling them everything I should be telling them, and I'm just feeling very closed off. And that's completely okay. Like, trust your gut. Sometimes you just don't vibe with certain therapists. It's literally like online dating. You can just bounce around from therapist to therapist until you find one that you feel safe and secure with, and that's okay. Also, if you are someone who struggles with like being the one who is directing the conversation, if you just tell the therapist right off the bat, the way I would like to be therapied is kind of by you guiding me and you asking the questions and you kind of leading me, rather than like just being like, okay, the stage is yours, take it away. Because like that's what happened to me when I first did the therapy session on BetterHelp with the one I got first paired with, and I was like, this is making me super uncomfortable. So just explain like what you want out of it, and you should be good. Trusting yourself through your mental health. My mental health makes me doubt so much. I think this is so important because you need to recognize that you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, you are doing the best you can. Why do I always say these things? Because it is 100% the truth. And it can be so hard to like keep tunnel vision on the future and like the person you've been working towards when you're constantly bombarded with all these negative thoughts and like bad mental health days. But just remember that you are not the person that you were 1 or 2 years ago. Like, think about that person you were 1 or 2 years ago. Like, really think about that person. Who was that person surrounding themselves with? What was that person doing? What was that person saying? What was that person wearing? What was that person's habits like? Were they reading? Were they putting themselves first, or were they letting people walk all over them? Like, I guarantee you were not in the same position you were 2 years ago. So just kind of trusting that it is a slow, gradual change, and one that we might not notice because we're with ourselves every single day. Just know that you are growing, you are improving as a person, and that everything will work out and make sense in the end. And it's something I have to keep reminding myself of, but the work you do in the dark will come to the light eventually. So keep grinding, keep working on yourself, because you're gonna be a badass person, and you are already a badass person. You're gonna be even more of a badass. Okay? This is making me feel better, guys, but I still feel like I'm on the brink of crying. Okay, someone asked me, how are you always looking on the bright side of things when bad things are going on? I definitely fall into negative emotions traps sometimes, but something as simple as like a year ago when I was in a super negative headspace, I put my screensaver as a quote that says, see good in all things. And anytime something upset me, anytime something went the wrong way that I didn't intend for it to go, I would just close my phone and just turn on my home screen, and I would see, my lock screen, and I would just see good in all things. And at first it felt weird to like tell myself, see good, see the good. And now it's something I subconsciously do. Like, I filmed a TikTok the other day where I spilled my tea tree oil, and I was like, oh no, now it's half full. And like the comments were saying, I love that you said half full. And like, it really is just my second way of thinking now, and I do choose to see the positive because I think that makes life much more enjoyable when you think that way. But maybe you need that reminder. So something as simple as like setting it as a phone screen, or just putting like quotes that you resonate with like up in your, like somewhere you walk past every day, like on your desk or like next to your bed or something like that, I think would help loads. So try it and let me know how that works for you. How do you deal with burnout? I think we all are experiencing a little bit of burnout to an extent right now. Just because we're burned out. We're burned out of life being put on hold. We're tired of doing school. We're tired of like how life has been going. Feelings of burnout are normal, so first I think it's important to preface that before I talk about anything else. But I think the way I deal with burnout is like finding moments of stillness with just myself. If you know you're gonna have a super hectic week, maybe instead of like jam-packing your week, if you can just like take a step back and be like, okay, on this day I'm gonna add 30 minutes of stillness to my day. Whatever that means to you. Like, stillness can be sitting on a beach and breathing. Stillness can be sitting in your car and playing a 10-minute meditation. Just little things to bring you pleasure, and just intentional alone time with yourself is so important because it reminds you that you are recognizing yourself for all the acts that you're doing. And I don't know, next thing, hopefully that answered the question. Do you ever struggle with anger/rage? If so, how do you manage or approach it? I know it's hard to believe because I'm someone who's like pretty easygoing, but I definitely do get feelings of anger because bitch, I can be feisty. Like if something upsets me, my instant reaction, like I said, is to let the claws out and be like, but it is not healthy to be like that. So I am trying to like take a step back before I get angry, and I'll just ask myself, why am I angry? Like, what is bringing up these feelings? Actually, a book I read was talking about how, like, when you start to notice an undesirable emotion, let's say that undesirable emotion right now is anger or rage. If you start to notice that you are going to start feeling that way, connect with your surroundings. So if I was feeling anger or rage right now, I would look around and I would find, like, 3 things I can see, 3 things I can hear, take 3 deep breaths, and then I would go from there. But just really understanding that that anger is not you, it is triggering something else in your past that has brought you anger, or it is just triggering other things that you are internalizing and not dealing with right now. Or it could actually be from another person, and that's like another case, but like, for me, most of my anger isn't really anger directed towards anyone else. It is just like internal struggles that I am getting frustrated with and like letting that frustration out loud. The best advice that I could give on that is to just understand that those emotions aren't you, and don't judge yourself when you feel those emotions, but just make yourself very aware of when you are feeling emotions like that, and then reflect and be like, okay, why am I actually feeling this way? You know? Hey guys, so my camera died, so sorry for the change of quality. Sorry that it's a little shaky because my hand is holding this iPhone right now. But I'm taking this as my sign that I said everything I needed to say. I spoke my truth, and the people that needed to hear some of the things I said were already reached out to. So I hope that this video brought you peace. I just want you to know that I love you. I care about you. You are so loved. You are so worthy. And don't let anyone else make you feel otherwise. What the like. And look at this view I'm looking at, guys. And as I cried about earlier, it is very emotional for me to even be here, but it is also in a way very freeing, and it does make me really happy. So just honoring your feelings and feeling everything you need to feel, and I'm probably gonna cry right after this, and maybe you need a good cry right after this, and that's okay. I know you guys all have your own things. I know you are all trying your very best, and I am very, very proud of you. And that's all for this week's video. Thank you for accepting me as I am. Thank you for loving me, and I love you guys so much. So I'll see you next week, and that's it. Okay, bye guys.